Welcome to my channel. This is yet another prophetic series, and this one is about the test of a true prophet. Every prophet called by God, or prophetess called by God, or prophetic folks that are called by God will be brought through processes that brings you to a point when you have passed the test of a true prophet before you are launched fully into the essence of your course of existence or reasons for why God called you and for a particular field. It will interest you to note that the test of a true prophet comes to achieve or accomplish two missions. Number one, the test of a true prophet brings or produces or precipitates, tapping into science, the true value or worth or features or the personality of a prophet, or the composition of this prophet when it comes to what this person can withstand for the advantage of the kingdom of God, as one that is currently an ambassador of the kingdom of God, or an intending or a prospective ambassador of the kingdom. It is also very important to note the second part of the reason or the value of the tests that true prophets go through. And this one is about bringing out the value that serves the people as the true picture that should be seen in an individual that affirms or confirms that this person is indeed a prophet of God. No prophet will ever go into fame without passing through the test of a true prophet. I said fame because our father Abraham, God called him and he said, "In fame I will make you famous." God promised to make the man Abraham famous. So when God picks you and equips you as a prophet and you become effective as a prophet, the consequence of being effective is fame and wealth, then eternity as the crown of it all. It will interest you to understand that the moment you go through my outline of the test of a true prophet, you know why you have been through some things that you have experienced in the past years or in your life as a prophetic person. And people that are confused about what they see around their prophets or prophets in general, if you're watching this material, you come to know why you watched what about specific prophets that brought you confusion. I want you to know too that every true prophet must be controversial or have links of incidents or stories or events around their lives that are broadly termed controversial. If an individual who bears the tag of the prophetic have not come to the point where his story or his life or the dealings of his ministry isn't deemed to be controversial by the common person, then that person have not started the journey into the prophetic faculty or prophetic world. Let's try to itemize the test of a true prophet so you can know where you belong or where your prophets belong. Number one is the test of identity. The test of identity. This was with Moses, for example, in the Bible. When God called Moses, when he led the flock of his father-in-law and came to the mountain of the Lord, and he saw the vision of the bush that was burning, but the crises were not consumed. And God called him out of the burning bush when he had turned aside to behold the mystery. You'll notice that when God said, "I have come down to send you into Egypt to bring out my people out of bondage that they are going through by the reason of the taskmasters," Moses' first question was, "Who am I to go to Pharaoh? Who am I?" This issue of identity. Who am I? When Jacob and the angel of the Lord interacted, Genesis chapter 32, on the account of the men that rested with him, when the angel of God rested with Jacob that night, and Jacob said, "I'll not leave you unless you bless me." The question the angel asked Jacob was, "What is your name?" That was again an issue of identity. When you see Joseph in the house of Potiphar, and the wife of Potiphar tried to do all sorts of things, and couldn't sell through. Eventually, the wife of Potiphar came to the husband and said, you brought this Hebrew, still the issue of identity, this Hebrew boy, this Hebrew slave to defy me. Slave, identity. So the first thing that intimidates, limits, threatens the ministry of any prophet is the concern of identity. Every prophet struggles with this. When you see prophets going for first degree, second degree, PhD, it's about the issue of identity. Some are even going as far as professorate. They want to have that mental boldness and soundness. You get me? Yeah. That's for those who care to go that way. Yeah. And when you see a prophet clinging to their spiritual name, God-given name, like I call myself Icon of Hope, because I perceive God calls me an icon of hope. You get that? We have Prophet Shepherd Bushiri. He calls himself Major One. Prophet Ibert Encha, Emeritus. And then much later others came up. You get that? And we have scores and scores. Prophet Java Passion calls himself the Gava. All these are about the issue of identity. Who am I? In fact, I was once in Mozambique. I spent 18 days there. And what I was looking for was, am I a prophet or an apostle? Yeah, still the issue of identity. Who am I? Moses queried, who am I? When God visited Abraham, after he had entered into Canaan land upon God's instruction, do you remember that God told Abraham, you shall no longer be called Abram, but Abraham, father of nations. Father of nations. Identity. So God tries to instill poise and peace in the mind of the prophet in the area of their identity before releasing them into a full-blown work. Identity test must be passed. You should be able to come through to be able to say any day, any time, anywhere without shaking and without the desire to change your identity. You get what I'm saying? Because if your identity is not strong enough, you would always want to change it. And the battles that you're going to be facing as a prophet or prophetic person is always going to make you try to want to change your identity. Like those who are not married, yeah. The fear that somebody says, I'm not married. You get that? Those who are divorced, you get me? The issue of identity. They'll say I'm divorced. You see that kind of a thing. It's still the issue of identity. Meanwhile, prophets should be able to overcome the issue of identity. Marriage or no marriage, degree or no degree, education or no education, tag or no tag, title or no title, you are a prophet of God. That's what you should stick to. Number two, test of a true prophet is the issue of citizenship. You know what? Every prophet is going to be rejected. It's a must, because the entire mission of the prophet contrasts the mission of the devil, the mission of this world. The systems of this world have been built to exclude the prophets. This is one of the very reasons why prophetic folks are always controversial when they want to speak as though they share equal privilege in a given place they find themselves. An example is Isaac in the Bible. You remember that Abraham had died and left inheritance for Isaac, and the people of Canaan came to do what? They closed up the well that Abraham had dug for Isaac. You are not one of us. That was the first thing. The next thing, he dug another one. When it shifted from that place, they came and closed it. You are not one of us. The issue of citizenship. You are not a citizen of this place. Why dig well? Why try to do permanent stuff? You are nomad. Yeah. No territory belongs to you here. He went again and dug another one. They closed it up until he came to Rehoboth. When he dug that one, a very big one, and the people did not come any further to close it. He named it Rehoboth, meaning much room. God have given us much room. I remember Dr. Pastor Paul and Enchi in Abuja, who currently pastors Abuja's largest church. He says that when he came to Abuja in Nigeria to begin ministry, they called them Mushroom Church. Mushroom. You get that? But today, said God have made us much room. Instead of mushroom, he is now a much room church. You see that? God made a Rehoboth for this man of God, because God eventually established him as somebody that have equal privilege with the orthodox pastors that were there. In fact, the issue of citizenship sometimes for prophetic people is a battle between ministers. Other ministers are afraid of the prophets sometimes, except for those who have prophetic knowledge and awareness. So when you step into a place, they are disturbed, they are troubled, they are afraid you'll override them, and so on and so forth. Your rising is a threat to them. Isaac's rising was a threat to the other people. So as a prophetic person, when you discover that people are not comfortable when you are inside, this is one of the things. They are afraid you will override them. I have faced this over and over. When you see people, all these negative news, lying about your name, lying about your ministry, they know where you went to get black powers. Now, when miracles take place in your ministry or church, it is Indian power you are using, it is African black magic you are using, it is Malaysian power, whatever power. I'm just making you to understand something. If you really know that you know what you are doing, stick to what you are doing. The issue of citizenship is always a problem. Eventually, Isaac became a genuine citizen of the place where he dug the world Rehoboth. You discover that the battle that Prophet Shepard Bushiri faced in South Africa is still the issue of citizenship. You get that? Prophet Ibn Angel was in Zimbabwe, but Zimbabwe, where he hails from, could not accommodate him as of then. Back then, issue of citizenship, because the other people were afraid. Both prophets and politicians alike were afraid of the presence of Ibn Angel. The same thing happened to Prophet Shepard Bushiri. The same thing happened to Prophet T.B. Joshua of blessed memory. If Nigerians had accepted T.B. Joshua of blessed memory with reference to the magnificent grace of God upon that man, Nigeria will not be able to contain the crowd that will be coming to visit Prophet T.B. Joshua, but his own fought against him. Jesus Christ was rejected by his own people. Citizenship. How about Paul? Most of his battles were those of citizenship. Sometimes he will declare it boldly, I'm a Jew, I'm a Roman, to make them know that he have a legal Roman identity. And again he said, I'm a Jew from the tribe of Benjamin, circumcised on the 8th day, concerning the law, I'm a Pharisee, and even a member of the Sanhedrin. He's trying to make them know that he is a legal practitioner, holder of the message of God, whom they profess to stand for. Do you remember that the man Amos faced the same thing? He came into the land of Israel to prophesy. He was from Judah. And they told him, go back to Judah, eat bread there, and prophesy to them. They told Prophet Shepard Bushiri that, I have heard those things over. And who is this guy? Who is his father? Who is this? That he should come up here. Balika Rabadosia, the power of God shall be upon you. He sent you there. He'll give you victory there. It's a test. You're going to pass it. At a point, the whole world will come for you. Daniel suffered the issue of citizenship as a prophet in the land of Babylon, thrown into the prison because of citizenship issue. He is a stranger. How come he's now the president of presidents? They ganged up against him because he will not allow them to cheat the government, to loot funds, since he was the president of presidents. Then they found out that he was not one of us. He is after all a Jew. Let us plot against him. And they made the king to sign a deal against him. And at the end of the day, it backfired. They were consumed instead of Daniel. Number 3 point of the test of prophets is due process. Abraham is a great picture there. When God calls a prophet, gives him his promises. Let me make you understand something. Everything about God goes through due process. People are very foolish and very timid when it comes to understanding the process of God in dealing with his prophets. They failed to reconcile today's prophets with yesterday's prophet. Abraham is one of the greatest prophets who ever lived. But you realize that this man of God walked with God for 25 years before the promise of the Isaac God promised him came to be. It is God's character to release upon you or into your life what he had promised or promised you in the beginning, over time, not overnight. He's going to pass you through a lot of tests before releasing. So there are series of tests that I combine or put together to mean the test of due process. Do you remember that Apostle Peter said that God is not slacking in his promises as it appears or seem in the hearts of men. He said, for 1,000 years is like a day before God, and one day is like 1,000 years. Can you get that? So if God have given a promise to his prophet, he's going to do it. When God show you picture of the world, people from around the world coming under you, it's going to do it. But there's going to be due process. It's going to take time. It may be delayed, but it can be denied. That's what you may know. And because of that, be steadfast with your faith as a prophet. But the world around you, believe you me, will laugh at you. Even your confidence, people, your trusted allies, will laugh at you. They'll play down on you. But just get this. God said, I'm giving you an Isaac, so that Isaac is coming. Nothing can stop it. It has gone forth from the mouth of the Lord. The Bible said this word has gone forth. It said, as the rain comes down, returns not, but waters the earth, so that it brings forth its fruit. Even so is my word that has gone out of my mouth. It will not return to me void, but it will accomplish that for which I have uttered it. And the problem again is that you become confused. Was it God that I heard? You heard God. If it was not God you heard, how come you prayed for that headache and the headache got healed? One confirmation is enough for you. Stick to your call and move on. People will always remain people. Number 4 test of a true prophet is that of integrity. It happened to Joseph. Integrity. And this is the most grievous test. I want to make you understand that integrity talks about the power of the mind to be restricted or to restrict oneself to specific moral standard or standards. And that was what Joseph had. That was what Potiphar's wife stood to test in him. And even when Joseph remained integrity confirmed, Potiphar's wife lied. So it's normal to be lied against as a prophet. Jesus was standing there. They said, this man said that he is God. He is greater than God. He will bring down this temple. He will build it in 3 days. Jesus had integrity. Our people gathered together, formulated or fabricated a lie, brought it. It was a tale before Pontius Pilate. And they testified. They bear witness, even though their witnesses were not agreeing against him. You listen to that. But I just want to make you understand something. This is the secret. Yeah, integrity. And let me make you understand something. Prophets lack witnesses, okay? Nobody is going to stand for you. Nobody is going to stand with you. You know who you are, what you do, what you did not do. Stand and stick to your God. Face your God. David was naked before God. Every prophet should struggle to be naked before God. God knows how to vindicate you in the end, but beat your body, like Apostle Paul said, I beat my body. This world is not our home, prophets. I get to me, I had said the systems of this world are built to exclude the prophets because we are directly in opposition. Our mission is completely contrary to what the world represents. This positions you to be able to stand, stick to your values, and whatever God is still showing you, please prophesy. Keep prophesying. Keep prophesying. In the midst of all of these battles, do you know one thing God is doing in your life? He is ensuring that you are seeing better by the day, you are hearing better than by the day, you are feeling better by the day. You discover that your prophecies, in spite of the many attacks, are becoming clearer. With Joseph thrown into the prison as a result of the lies of Potiphar's wife, in the prison, Joseph became a better and an accurate, a forensic dream interpreter. From the prison, the guy ascended seat number 1, ranking above even Potiphar in the land. The woman who lied at Joseph looked up to Joseph in the end. That's the secret of the prophetic. They can beat you, throw you off, match you, walk on you. It doesn't matter. You're going to where he called you to be. You are an individual of class. Nothing can shake that out of your way. Number 5, character test. Very important. I want to separate character from integrity. Integrity talks about the ability of oneself or in oneself to restrain or restrict oneself to specific moral standards. Character talks about the willpower, the strength of the mind, resolutions, sticking to specific values. You should have that kind of strength over your will And these have got to do with the concern of anger too. Yeah. Every prophet is got the tendency to be bad-tempered. If you are not, then you are not a prophet. Jesus was bad-tempered. But the ability of prophets to control this. Elijah was one. Elisha was one. If Elisha could curse these guys and lions or bears could come out of the wood to eat them up, 42 of them, that guy can bring down the whole of Israel in a day with his word from his mouth. He only controlled himself when he was pushed against the wall by certain kings and certain enemies. Remember when they came to ambush him, and he told this guy, Gehazi, they that be with us are more than they that be with them. And eventually Gehazi's eyes were open to see the mountain surrounded with chariots of fire. And eventually he prayed, and God smote the enemies with blindness. What if he had prayed and said, God, make them all dead? He controlled himself, please. Every prophet must pass the test of character. Self-control. Overt self-control. Unusual, great depth of self-control. It also corresponds with your weight in picking prophecies when you are bad-tempered. Yeah. People will push you against the wall. Events will overtake you and take you in unawares. Yet you are expected to maintain prophetic character. That poise, that balance. Are you getting me? And this adds up to your personality. What people can say or testify about your person. You get me? And this should not betray God. Your character as a prophet or prophetess or a prophetic fellow should not betray God at all. Learn to be the owner of your will. Jesus went into the temple. He barely lost his temper there. He flogged them out of the temple. Do you know that? And he said, don't you know that I can call for legions, my Father? And he will send legions of angels here to deal with these people. But why didn't he do so? Character. Character is bias to one's purpose. A loosed character is biased to emotional promptings. Your emotions becomes your Lord. Therefore, your external environment determines your destination if you don't have a character. But once you have a character, the right character, the word of God determines your destination, because you are programmed according to the dictates of the Holy Scripture. You don't slap because the Bible will not allow you to slap. You don't say. And even when you say some things that are not supposed to be said, you have the boldness to step out, own your mess, and withdraw them, retract them, and beat yourself to the right path still. Push yourself. Be harsh on yourself. Character means the ability in a man to, in fact, be able as well to be harsh on himself and be biased to his destination with reference to the dictates of the sentence of his people. And lastly, faith crisis. Faith crisis. Abraham takes the lead there as one of the height of the prophetic work. In terms of the dynamism, in terms of the outcome, in terms of the exploits, in terms of the accomplishments, they are tied to your ability, to pass the test of the faith crisis. Here is Isaac. Are you getting what I'm saying? And God said, bring me this Isaac as an offering. That's faith crisis test. There are occasions when things are rough, life isn't going smoothly yet, and you are expecting that God is going to make some magical move to create doors for you where there are no ways, or make way for you where there is no way. Instead of that, God is asking you to take a step that if it doesn't work, you'll crash completely. And this is a test of faith. Should I offer? Should I not? Should I offer my Isaac? Should I not? That was the place that God placed Abraham for. It can be a call to the mountain, and it's going to give you faith crisis. The time when you should be out there for your business, and God said, meet me on the mountain. And you are like, wow, if I go to the mountain, I'm going to miss a lot of business deals. He said, meet me on the mountain, please. Okay, he says, that whole company you own, my son, my daughter, go give everything to another ministry. So how do I start up? Where do I get the funds? Nobody's on my side. Faith crisis. You must pass this test. The last money in your account, everything, God said, withdraw everything, sow into the ministry of this man of God, and you shall explode. And you were like, can this be God talking to me? I doubt. That's the moment your ministry is about to explode. So anytime God brings you to a junction of faith crisis, please obey a voice. He will give you an instruction that is not logical. You see, Gideon, he gave him an instruction that was not logical. It had to take faith to click for the kind of victory he wanted Gideon to win, to be won. By the time you are conscious of these tests and you run your life through them effectively, whether hell likes it or not, your ancestral altars like it or not, the territorial demons in the place God sends you to like it or not, your ministry is going to shoot out and become global. Daniel became global from a strange land. Joseph became global from a strange land. Jesus, contrary to the Roman Empire authority, became the fame of the day. You too shall become the next fame of the day. God bless you. Trust to see you at the top. You may want to go deeper into the prophetic. Sign up for my training with the Shiloh School of Seers for a certificate course in forensic prophecy, where I teach you how to get a prophetic accuracy, how to call names and numbers, how to walk yourself into the prophetic office, and how to blend between miracles and the prophetic. This is what we do here, and the testimonies are baffling. By the grace of God, over 50 nations have had their prophets trained from my school, the prestigious and highly reputed Shiloh School of Seers. Catch you there.